Welcome to this week's edition of the Garner's Corner program. My name is Jennifer Brown, and I'm the Family and Consumer Science Extension Agent for the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service in Person and Granville counties. And I want to let you know about a program that we have coming up. It is our diabetes prevention program. It is something that we start every year, and we work with the Person County Health Department to collaborate on this initiative. It is offered at the Person County office building, and it is a year-long program where we try to help people prevent diabetes. 1 in 3 people are pre-diabetic. And that is just the ones that we know about that have been tested and had blood tests that, and they've been possibly told that they are pre-diabetic or have higher levels of sugar. And we want to make sure that they don't become diabetic. So we have our diabetes prevention program, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working to recruit people for our next series. It's going to start in July of 2025. So over the next month or so, starting on May 8th, we're going to host informational sessions at the Person County office building just to provide information about this program. Coming to an information session does not commit you to the program. We have to find out if you are even eligible. So we have about 6 different informational sessions that we are going to be conducting throughout May. And they're at different days and different times. The first one will be Thursday, May 8th at 10 a.m. You can contact the Person County Health Department to register for one of these sessions by calling them at 336-597-2204, extension 2277. We also do have an online registration link. It is go.ncsu.edu/diabetes info. This flyer, these dates, the registration link, all of that is on our Person County Extension Facebook page. You can find us online at our Food for Thought Facebook page, and it is at Person Granville FCS. We are on Facebook or Instagram, but if you want to get the actual link, you got to go to the Instagram. It's also on the Person County Extension website. So you can just go there as well. We give you a couple of different routes. You can always call the extension office as well, and we can fill out the online registration form. Now, you may have been, you may be eligible for this program if you've already been told that you were in the pre-diabetic range, or sometimes they call it borderline diabetic. But one of the things for this program is you cannot have already been diagnosed as a diabetic in any point in your life, unless it was gestational diabetes. But when you come to an info session, we will go through all of the specifics about the program. We are going to tell you that, yes, it is a year-long program. We meet on Thursdays for the first 16 weeks of the program. We are meeting every Thursday. And then for the 4 months after that, we go to where we meet twice a month. And then for the last 4 months of the program, we only meet once a month. So throughout the whole year, we're going to be meeting about 28 or so times, always on Thursdays at lunchtime from 12 to 1. So even if you were working, if you were able to get to the Person County office building, and we've had several people in previous groups that have still been employed, and they just asked their boss, hey, can I go do this during my lunch hour? I might need to leave 10 minutes early or get 10 minutes back just for travel. This is going to help improve your health, lower hopefully your insurance rates. It is going to help your productivity because you're not having more health issues the longer that you work there, because diabetes can affect you from your head to your toes. We will need, when you come to an info session, we We're going to need to check your body mass index. So we're going to have to weigh you, and we're going to weigh you at every session because part of the program is there is a weight loss component to it. We're going to give you tips and tricks and things that you can do to work towards losing 5 to 7% of your weight. So for someone who's 200 pounds, we're talking about 10 pounds, over the course of a year. So we're not talking huge, drastic weight loss, but with diabetes, it has been shown that just a simple 5 to 7% weight loss can have a true effect on your overall health and well-being and lower your blood sugar numbers. When you come to an info session, not only are we going to check your body mass index and take your height and your weight, we are going to look at your blood test. So if you have taken a blood test, an A1C or blood sugar fasting blood glucose test since last July, we're going to need those test results to know if you are in that pre-diabetes range. If you're not, according to your blood test, then we can give you a paper survey. It's got about 5 or so questions. It's a pre-diabetes risk test developed by the CDC and the American Diabetes Association. So just answering some of these questions can also tell us if you qualify for the program. Your body mass index has to be 25 or above. So that puts you in kind of that overweight plus, category there, because we have had some people, since there is a weight loss component to the program, their BMI is too low. They don't have any extra weight to lose, so they are not eligible for the program. Again, it might sound kind of complicated. That's why we do these info sessions, is to give you all of this information in a, like a lovely PowerPoint presentation. We also give you a little bit of paperwork to fill out, just to go over some of the parameters and the expectations. As instructors, we have certain expectations of you, and so we want to lay that out from the very beginning. We want to give you the schedule. Since there's 28 days over the next year, we need to make sure that you are saving these dates and that you are attending them, because attendance is part of the program as well. And then again, we'll go all over all the details and see if you're eligible for the program. So just sign up for one of the info sessions. We are trying to get people to pre-register for the informational sessions, just so we can be prepared and we know how many handouts to make for that day or whatnot. But all of the informational sessions will be held at the Person County Office Building in our Extension office. But you can call the Extension office, the Health Department, or again, go on our Facebook page at Person Granville FCS. Look us up. We're Food for Thought on Facebook, and get the link and register for one of our 6 informational sessions, and plan to come and attend and learn more about it. To give you another little bit brief overview, because some people sometimes wonder, well, what is the diabetic range and what's the pre-diabetic range? We're going to share that with you in the informational sessions, but we're always encouraging people, even if you're not there, and you're not possibly in that range, you need to know your health numbers so that you can, watch out and see if your numbers are creeping up. So if you go to the doctor and you get your blood drawn, or even, they check your blood pressure, they do your weight and your height, you can calculate your own body mass index, and then see if they're doing just a blood sugar test or if they're doing an A1C. Because, we say 1 in 3 people have pre-diabetes. We're also aware that probably 1 in 3 people may have diabetes and might not even be diagnosed. We have some people that have come and they have skipped over pre-diabetes. They didn't know they needed to be worried about it, and next thing they know, they're told, oh, you have diabetes. So get your test done for your blood test. Ask your healthcare provider to explain these results. If someone's giving you a number and you don't know what that means, then you need to be like, is that good? Is that borderline? Do I need to be concerned? What are you seeing? Does it look like my kidneys are failing? Any of that kind of stuff, so that you can watch that stuff earlier. But a normal range of your A1C is 5.6 or lower. So pre-diabetes is 5.7 to 6.4. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that again. Pre-diabetes is an A1C of 5.7 to 6.4. Now, you might not remember what your A1C was before, but nowadays, with all of the online health portals, you are able to go and check that out. So go look and see if you've had an A1C test done before. And if it's in the 5.7 to 6.4 range, you are eligible for this diabetes prevention program. Maybe you haven't had an A1C test done, but you've had a fasting blood sugar or glucose test. The pre-diabetes range for that is 101 to 125. Okay. If you have any numbers that are higher than that, if you have a 6.5 A1C or above, you are officially in the diabetes range. Your doctor might not have told you that officially you were diabetic, because some, general practitioners or healthcare providers, um, they have different ranges per se. They don't get concerned about it till you're at this range. According to the Centers for Disease Control and the American Diabetes Association, if you have a A1C of 6.5 or higher, you are officially a diabetic. But we are looking, again, this program is for people who are pre-diabetic because we are trying to prevent diabetes. Now, you might be thinking, I'm already diabetic. This program is not for me. Don't worry. We do have other programs at the Extension office that we do also in collaboration with the health department that we can help you. So we do have a Living Healthy with Diabetes program. We typically do that in the fall time as well. But throughout the year, I teach different nutrition programs, or I can always provide information to you about diabetes. One of the benefits that came from COVID is we did a lot of virtual workshops. So over the past 5 years, I have taught webinars on you know managing your diabetes or living with diabetes or understanding carbohydrates, the good, the bad, and the ugly kind of thing. And so I can always send you those recorded webinars if you are interested in that, as well as we have a variety of different handouts and materials to get you started. If you maybe don't qualify for the diabetes prevention program, but you're interested in other stuff. I also want to remind you again, there are more health numbers that you need to know. Your A1C or your blood sugar is just one, but your blood pressure can also affect your diabetes too. So we want it to be within a normal range. So your blood pressure, a normal range is 120 over 80. Okay. If it's above that, then it could be slightly elevated. And then you could be you could have hypertension, which just means high blood pressure there. But there's different stages and there's different effects that high blood pressure can have to your overall health. So when you get these numbers, or these numbers are put into your health portal, ask for a printout so you can, know what they are and even keep track. So I went to my doctor now, and this is my results. Let me look at last year. Did it go up? Is it maintaining? Did it go down? Was there something that you were doing that was great? As I mentioned, we do check out your body mass index. So we encourage you to not only, listen to your A1C or your blood sugar numbers and your blood pressure, but don't forget to listen to your waistline. You are at a higher risk if you have a higher body mass index. And typically, a lot of us, we carry our weight around our middle. So if you take a measurement of your waist, if you get, a measuring tape and, you kind of put it at your belly button, and then you circle it around your body and it connects back around. If men are more than 40 inches, and women, if you are more than 35 inches at your waist, then you have a higher risk of possibly diabetes there. So just find out what your body mass index. You can search body mass index calculator, and Again, it's just going to ask you for your height and your weight, and it will give you that range, that number that you're at. 25 or above, you are in an overweight category, and you are more at risk for diabetes as well. So again, we are going to get take a brief break and get a word on from one of our sponsors. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stop back by afterwards and continue to listen into our Gardener's Corner program for the week.
Are you tired of looking at the dirt, grime, and mildew on your home, garage, RV equipment, driveway, and/or your sidewalk? Call on a family-owned and operated business to fix that problem. Contact M&J Pressure Washing Service, 336-951-7836 or 336-459-8494. M&J Pressure Washing Service proudly serves Person and Castwell counties. Their services include pressure washing, trash removal, junk pickup, and haul-away services. Contact Marion Jackson, 336-951-7836 or Jerry Jackson, 336-459-8494. Visit the website mjpressurewashingservice.com or visit their social page. M&J Pressure Washing Service.
Do you have those annoying potholes in your driveway? Need some driveway regrading? Or maybe you just need some new gravel? Give JT Allison a call. Jody has been in business for over 25 years, specializing in driveway grading and hauling gravel. He also does all types of small tractor work and some backhoe and bush hogging work. Jody strives to do a top-notch job and to make sure that you, the customer, is always happy. Whether it's a small job or a big job, we have multiple truck sizes to accommodate your needs. Here at JT Allison, we appreciate your business. Check us out on Facebook at JT Allison LLC or give us a call at 336-583-6250. Jody and Kim Allison. We are rocking the county one load at a time.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Gardener's Corner. I'm Jennifer Brown, Family Consumer Science Agent with the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. So before the break, we were talking about pre-diabetes and that we have a upcoming diabetes prevention program that is officially going to start in July of this year. But throughout the month of May, we are going to be hosting different informational sessions, and they are exactly what they sound like. They are going to provide information so that you can determine if you are interested in participating in the diabetes prevention program and if you are even eligible. Because we are aware that, a lot of people may have prediabetes and don't know it. We know that about 1 in 3 people are pre-diabetic, which means they're borderline diabetic. They're on their way there. And prediabetes is, again, someone who has a little bit higher than normal blood glucose sugar levels, but they're not all the way officially as diagnosed as diabetes. Oftentimes, if someone is pre-diabetic, they also might have other risk factors, such as they might be on their way to even heart disease or stroke. But with a simple lifestyle change, they can lower their risk of developing type 2 diabetes by as much as 58%. And that's what this program is. It's not a weight loss program, even though that is a small, goal of all of the individuals, but it is a lifestyle change program. Anybody can do anything for a short period of time or even for a year. You can go on a crazy restrictive diet. You can exercise like crazy. You can be really good for, a month or, a couple of months or even a year, and you can lose the weight or get healthier. But if it's not sustainable, if it's so rigid, if it's so restrictive, if it's so awful, if it's hard to maintain, you are less likely to continue that. And that's why we have so many people that kind of do this yo-yo, diet back and forth there. And we don't want that to happen to you. So we want to give you, tips and tricks and different things that you can do, small little changes that you can make, but that can make a big effect on your overall health and well-being. And that's something that you can do for the rest of your life. Even if it's, you know, um, if keeping a food log, technically you can do that. Or if nothing else, just doing that for a short amount of time can get you better acclimated to knowing how much food you need and about how many calories this is. Learning to read nutrition labels, drinking more water, exercising more. It's recommended for adults to get 150 minutes of exercise a week. These are things, small little changes that you can make that can add up to, have a big impact there. And that's what this program is every session. As I mentioned before the break, it's a year-long program, but we meet about 28 times throughout that year. So it's more intensive at the beginning, meeting weekly, and then, twice a month for a couple of months, and then once a month for a couple of months. So we kind of give you a lot of information at the beginning, a lot of support, and then we kind of slowly wean you off of us. And we just continue to build on the information that we've given you before there. Looking at some of the numbers and the health statistics, 84 million people had pre-diabetes in 2015. We've noticed the prevalence has jumped to almost 50% among adults 65 or older. There's nothing worse than, oh, I just finally was able to retire and now I have all these health conditions that I have to worry about. And now I have to have all this medication when I don't have the money to pay for this. So, and there are a lot of other risk factors too. If you are overweight or obese, that makes you more at risk for diabetes. If you are not meeting that recommended 150 minutes of physical activity per week, you are more at risk there. And we're seeing this, there's about 68% of North Carolinians who are overweight or obese. There's about 52% that are not meeting that physical activity requirement. There's about 33% that have high cholesterol, which makes you more at risk for diabetes. There's 35% that have high blood pressure. And also, if you are a current smoker, that makes you more at risk for diabetes as well. And again, we have at least about 18% of North Carolinians that are that too. And it's very simple to find out if you need to be concerned. We can look at your blood glucose or your A1C tests. We can also look at, as I mentioned, there is if you don't know your blood work, or if your blood work, if your A1C is not in the 5.7 to 6.4 range, if it's lower than that, and you aren't officially pre-diabetic, then we can possibly qualify you for this program using the paper risk test. And again, it's just a survey with a couple of questions. So I'm going to kind of review that for you now. So there's about 7 questions. The first one, it's going to ask your age. The older we get, the more we're at risk for diabetes. So when we take this risk test, if you're younger than 40 years old, you get a 0. You don't have any risk points for your age there. But as you go up 40 to 49, you're going to put 1 point down. If you're in the 50 to 59 category, again, your risk increase. So you get 2 points for that. If you're 60 or older, you get 3 points there. Okay. And what we're going to do is each of these questions, it's a point system. And at the end, we're going to add up your points. And if you have a score of 5 or higher, you're at risk for diabetes. So again, just being 60 years or older, you already have 3 out of 5 points right there. Okay. If you are a woman, now we look at your gender. If you're a woman, it's 0 points. Men actually have a higher risk, so men get 1 point there. Now, if you are a woman and you've been diagnosed before with gestational diabetes, then you get 1 point because you are more at risk for developing diabetes as you age if you've already experienced it while you were pregnant and had gestational diabetes. Do you have a family member that has diabetes? Now, we're specifically looking at a mother, a father, a sister, or a brother. So, kind of that first generation. We're not going to cousins or grandparents or any of that stuff, just your immediate family there. If the answer is yes, you get 1 point. I've mentioned that your blood pressure can affect or make you more at risk for diabetes. Have you ever been diagnosed with high blood pressure? If the answer is yes, there's 1 point. No is 0. And then the next question is, are you physically active? So this question can kind of, the way it's a yes or no question. Yes is 0 points. No is 1 point. So you might already know that answer. But what we consider physically active is, do you meet the required or recommended amount for adults, which are you on average getting 150 minutes per week? Not like, oh, well, I did it last week, but then I haven't done it, in a couple of months before that or something. Are you consistently getting it? Again, it doesn't have to be every single week, but 9 times out of 10, are you getting 150 minutes of physical activity per week? If you are, great. If you're not, that's another point to add to your risk test. And then we look at your weight, and we look kind of at that BMI or your weight category. So you have to know your height and you have to know your weight for this next question. And again, as you age, I've told people, I'm like, you might need to retest your height. It might not be what it used to be on your license anymore. As you get older, you shrink a little bit. So checking out your height, and then you have to go weigh yourself. And on our risk tests, we have a chart, we have a scale. And if you just kind of find your height and where your weight is on that, and you're going to get a 1 point, a 2 point, or a 3 point there if you are slightly overweight, depending on how overweight you possibly are. Okay. So again, you can also just Google CDC prediabetes risk test, and this form will come up. There's an actual virtual form you can fill out, or we just have a paper copy we print out. But you can see that, if you're older, especially a man, but if you're older, if you have immediate family that has it, if you have a high blood pressure, if you're not physically active, and if you're slightly overweight, you're definitely got that score of 5 or more. And that means that, you have an increased risk for prediabetes, or you possibly have prediabetes, and you are an increased risk for diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and you would be eligible for this program. So again, just as a reminder, our diabetes prevention program, it doesn't start until July. We are finishing our current series with our current class. I can tell you that we try to keep the class sizes somewhat small, with a maximum usually of 12 people. But we need to make sure we have enough. We like to have at least 10 people to do this program, because it is, it's a time intensive program for us to give up that much time in our schedule throughout a whole year. We want to make sure we have a good group, and that they understand that we are working towards a 5 to 7% weight loss. That is one of the goals we are going to give you, and you have to kind of agree, yes, I agree to work towards this, as well as getting and maintaining 150 minutes of physical activity. So those are the two individual goals that we give you, that you as an individual are supposed to work towards. And I can say that of our current class, again, we've got 2 more sessions. They've been fairly successful. We've got 9 people currently in the program right now, and they have lost over 100 pounds, and have, been anywhere from that like 5.8 to 6% weight loss as a group. Is what they've lost. Some people have been, even more successful than that. But we would love to give you even more information about this program. You need to sign up for an informational session, or at least you can show up. We're always happy for people to show up, but we are just asking if you are able to pre-register. You can call the extension office again at 336-599-1195. Or you can call the health department, 336-597-2204, extension 2277. And as I said, you can go to our Facebook page at Person Granville FCS. We will have this flyer. It will have the link. You can go to the Pierce County Health Department Facebook page. You can go to the extension website. You can, again, just show up for any of these dates. The informational sessions start, the first one is Thursday, May 8th at 10 a.m., but we've got them on a variety of different days throughout the weeks throughout May at different times to hopefully suit your schedules. Now, again, as a reminder, the class will be held on Thursdays from 12 to 1. So starting, in July, looking at, and then going every Thursday for the first 16 weeks. And then again, we go to twice a month and once a month. When you come to the informational session, we will give you the actual days. We will have a printout of here's all the days from now until next June you need to put on your calendar. I will say this in case you're an individual who is looking at your calendar to see if you're available. The first Thursday in July, I believe it's July 3rd. So we might possibly be starting that week on Wednesday. And just we know some people go out of town for the 4th of July holiday, so we want to make sure we can suit them as well. But hopefully come to one of our informational sessions, learn more about the program schedule, find out if you are eligible to participate, what the program covers, what is expected of you. All of this information will be made available to you. So we are going to get take another break and get a word on from one of our sponsors. We'll be back right afterwards. And I promise we'll talk about something other than just diabetes.
South Boston Memorials, located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston, Virginia, has been in business since 1958. The Myers family of South Boston Memorials believe that every life has a story. For 4 generations, their life work has been to present and preserve that story for our prosperity to hear. Allow South Boston Memorials to tell yours. South Boston Memorials has granite memorials, markers, and mausoleums, over 300 in stock. In-house laser etching is available at South Boston Memorials, and they can also make pet markers. For memorial benches, vases, and monuments, call on South Boston Memorials at 434-572-3859 or visit their website, sobomemorials.com. That's 434-572-3859. South Boston Memorials is located 1439 Seymour Drive in South Boston, Virginia. Like us on Facebook or visit the website, sobomemorials.com.
Give the gift of preservation. South Boston Memorials now offers cleaning options for memorials for your loved ones. Call them today at 434-572-3859.
Spring is bursting open. T.G. Brooks Supply Company is ready, and they have the tomato plants, cabbage, broccoli, collards, lettuce, and Brussels sprouts. Also, herbs like basil, chives, thyme, oregano, dill, cilantro, peppermint. They have lavender, and they're all geared up for the planting season. This is the month to really get things going for spring and summer. Fresh garden seeds are in and ready to plant. Reseed your lawn with clean, fresh grass seed, and they have the fertilizer, lime, herbicides for weed control, and if you need mulch, they have mulch, even the triple ground mulch. Do you need straw, pine needles? How about potting soil, planting soil, or cow manure? They have aerators for sale or for rent. No matter if you are the homeowner or if you are a commercial landscaper, T.G. Brooks Supply handles everybody with the same courteous service. While getting in the spring spirit, be sure to go across the street and see the selections offered by Maybell's Boutique. Maybell's Boutique has new spring fashions for children, such as children's clothing, shoes, and other great selections. Make tracks to 411 Helena Maria Road in Timberlake. Phone them at 364-3016. T.G. Brooks Supply Company and Maybell's Boutique, proudly serving the area since 1936. They welcome folks from all over Person County who enjoy the friendly hometown shopping experience at T.G. Brooks Supply Company and Maybell's Boutique.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Gardener's Corner. I also wanted to talk to you this week about positive thinking. That was the topic of our Lunch and Learn that we did this week at the Extension office. If you are not aware, every month we host a Lunch and Learn workshop at the Person County Extension office. It costs $5 to attend. We serve a healthy and delicious meal, as well as we provide, a packet of materials and sometimes little goodies to give away. And it's always on a topic of, health and wellness, food, nutrition, or even just if somebody asks us to invite a guest speaker about something. But as we get a little closer to May, May is Mental Health Month. And we also know that April is Stress Awareness Month. So we started thinking about that, and we really wanted to kind of promote, more positive thinking, because that would decrease your stress as well as it would improve your overall health and mental health. So I want to kind of share some of the information that I shared this week with everyone, with you. I'm not sure if you're like me, and sometimes you might talk to yourself either out loud or in your head, but how is your inner dialogue? Are you saying things that are very critical, or are you supportive? The things that you say to yourself, would you say that to a loved one or a friend? Are you truly your own harshest critic there? Some people will ask you, are you an optimist or a pessimist? Studies have shown that optimists actually have a better quality of life. They're not always beating themselves down. They're not overreacting. They're not reading things into situations and maybe, always being on the defensive there. So that's a question I'll ask you. Maybe, it's kind of early this morning there, but what have you said to yourself today? Or maybe even thinking about yesterday? Were you having a good pep talk, lifting yourself up, or were you saying, oh, I'm stupid, I'm fat, I'm lazy, I'm whatever, anything negative? What were you doing? And just acknowledging that is one of the first things. A lot of times people don't realize how harsh they're being to themselves. And then when I ask them that question about, well, would you say that to your friend if they did the same thing? If your friend just, like, say they tripped and fell, like if you tripped and fall, you're like, oh my God, I'm so clumsy, I'm so stupid. If your friend did that, you would be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Do you need some help? Let me do that. No, you were carrying too much. You're moving too fast. But you wouldn't say, oh, you're like, clumsy or lazy or what. You wouldn't do any of that. Or I hope you wouldn't be friends with them for too long. So we want to take that self-talk and make sure that you're having positive thoughts, and that those positive, whatever comes in your brain, the good stuff comes out of your mouth as well. Sometimes it's just a simple, trying to be a little bit more optimistic. It could be you start off the day thinking, hey, I'm so glad that I woke up today. I might have some little creaks. I might be moving slow, but I'm still moving. Little things like that. Some people, before they go to bed, they might write in a gratitude journal, list all of the things that you're happy for, you're grateful for. that might put you in a better, mindset when you're going to bed. So maybe that you're not having problems sleeping because you're worried or tossing and turning and your mind won't shut off. Maybe you need to do the gratitude journal in the morning. You wake up, maybe do some stretches, whatever else, and then think about, all the blessings that you have in your life there. And we want you to verbalize the good thoughts, so even if you're having some of those negative thoughts, just shut them down. Be like, no, that's not what we're going to think. That's not how we're going to feel. Again, this is what we're going to think. And you might even need to say those good things out loud. Again, if you are, with people and you have family or whatever, maybe you don't want to talk out loud to yourself. That's fine. You can say it in your head as well. There are so many benefits to thinking more positively, and that's something that we do even work with the individuals in some of our diabetes classes, because you are feeling a lot of emotions, and you're feeling sometimes guilt and blame that you are a diabetic. How did I get myself here? And that is not helpful in any way, shape, or form. And you again, we all get in situations we don't want to be in. We all have gained a little weight we don't want, and it's just stop, acknowledge that, and now I'm going to do better. I'm going to enhance, my performance. I'm going to live healthier, and I'm going to feel better. And then take the steps to do that. It will also just make you a happier person. You'll be more satisfied in life if you are, not always being negative. If you're more happy, it'll help decrease your stress, which can also affect your weight. Sometimes stress can cause inflammation. So it could just be you're not overweight, you're just really stressed. And that can add up to some of that stuff there. It could be you're stressed, which is causing overeating. And that's why you're overweight. There could be a variety of different factors. Also, just thinking more positively, really, it's mind over matter. You might have heard people say, you can sit here and I can sit here and think, oh my God, I'm so sore and I hurt and whatever. And then I can actually start to feel more pain just by saying those negative things, where if I'm not focusing on it, if I'm saying, I feel great today, I'm so glad, maybe I can't do everything that I used to be able to do, but I still have, a lot of mobility that I am, able to do, or things that I'm able to do. You can see reduced pain. Thinking healthier thoughts instead of, oh my God, I think I'm coming down with something. I feel this and I feel that, and my throat hurts and whatever else. Think more positively. Oh, I'm just going to go get some orange juice and that's going to help make me feel better. I'm going to get some vitamin C. I'm going to go get some sunlight, get some vitamin D. I'm going to do some exercises there. You can make yourself sick by thinking negatively, and you can make yourself better by thinking more positively. It'll also help your heart health, reduce your risk for death, help give you an overall physical well-being, and increase your vitality, your mobility, your just your length of life as well. Now, I'm not saying it's never think negatively. That's probably impossible for one thing, but you just need to at least identify the problem. Catch yourself when you're doing it. Sometimes we personalize everything and you blame yourself for everything. Sometimes, there's a situation going on, and instead of thinking about, all of the different aspects, we don't like change. No one likes change a lot of times, but you always focus about the negative aspect of a situation, instead of the good stuff. I mean, I've had my kids are like, oh, we've got to go to this, ridiculous field trip I really don't want to do. Or we've all had a training we do, we have to go to that we don't want to, or something like that. And I've tried to tell my children, I'm like, you get out of school, like you have no class all day. You get to go somewhere else and do something else. Yes, it might not be the, we want to go to Carowinds instead of the science museum or something like that, but you're only focusing on what you don't get. Focus on what you do get. You get kind of a day off there, and you don't have to do all of this work that you would normally have to do. Field trip means no homework. Look at it that way. There's so many different things there. We have some people that are very polarizing. They only see the world in black or white. There's no gray, there's no middle ground. It's either an awesome day or it's a horrible day. And that can be kind of like a little manic, it's just you're either all in or you're all out. Like, there's no halfway with you. Um, and then sometimes we see everything as a catastrophe. We're expecting the worst, when honestly, is it really going to be that bad? Is the situation absolutely that horrible? And no one can show you, can talk you out of your negativity. The reason and logic does not even. I mean, that's how sometimes it is that I don't watch the news because everything it's like, oh, the world's going to end and this is going to do this and this is going to crash and that's going to happen and whatnot. And it's just like, just again, let it ride through the situation there and just see, what happens. It's probably not as bad as you think it is. It rarely is. Think about all the times you thought the world was going to be, ending, or your life was over, or just whatever else. And it's like, I got through all of those moments. I'll get through this as well. So once you've identified the negative thoughts, we want you to focus on some of these tips for positive thinking or positive self-talk. So again, identify when you're doing those negative things. Pinpoint where you experience the most negative self-talk. Sometimes it's, oh, I'm always at work. I always like everyone's so better at this than me, or everyone's this, and I always feel bad. Or maybe, again, if you're a kid, it's school, maybe. Or maybe it's home. I can't do anything right here. I'm just, whatever else. We all go through these moments. Um, if possible, maybe you need to avoid that place or that situation or that individual. Again, I'm not saying run away from your family or any of that. They can bring us the most frustration, but they can also bring us the most joy there. So again, it's not black or white. There's a lot of gray in that area there too. Check in with yourself. How are you doing? I know that there's been days that I'm just like, I'm in a very negative place. And sometimes it's like, I got to go to work. I can't get out of it. Maybe if you're an individual who can occasionally work from home, maybe you need to do that day. So you're not taking all that negativity out. Or let your coworkers know, look, y'all, it's not y'all. I am just in a bad, cranky mood today. I don't know if I woke up on the wrong side of the bed or whatever else. So I'm going to go in my office. I'm going to, kind of shut my door a little bit, or I'm going to just, be in there working. Please don't interrupt me unless you absolutely need to, because I'm just not in a good mental space. Or just take the day off if you're able to do that. Sometimes you just need to, again, have that little pep talk to yourself, evaluate, why am I being so negative today? Or well, what is good? Maybe that's a moment you need to take and write down your thoughts or stuff in a gratitude journal. Make yourself feel better there. Maybe you need to take, 5 minutes. I just got out of a really frustrating meeting and I need to watch a funny video right now. It'll help relieve stress, tension, whatever else. Again, we don't want you to be doing that all work day and not being productive or any of that kind of stuff. But during one of your, like, take a 5-minute break, go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do, go out for a brief, walk. Say, I need to go get a drive, something. I mean, whatever you are able to do within your workspace, do that. When you're not at work, or even if you are at work, surround yourself with positive people. I've worked with a variety of people, whether it's work or just, collaborative, partners or other agencies over my 20 some years working for the county and the state. And we absorb a lot of the emotions of other people around us. So you need to choose wisely. So I've had different individuals who, like, certain individuals are always negative, the woe is me, the everything's horrible and, whatnot. I had to almost kind of separate myself from those individuals and kind of not talk to them as much, which I hated to do because I know that they needed a little bit more positivity in their life, but they were sucking the life out of me. And so sometimes I will, okay, I've had to avoid people at work or places or whatever else, because it's always like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, it's just I can't deal with that right now there. So I try to spend more time with positive people and limit my time with others there. I also try to use more positive affirmations. I'm not, a post-it note girl, but some people will put post-it notes, up in their house or even just on their mirror or in their bedroom and just, I was thinking about some of those movies I've seen, and it's just, you are kind, you are beautiful, you are smart, you are whatever else that they'll tell other people. I'm like, we need to tell ourselves this, and maybe I need a note. Maybe I need to redirect my thoughts. Every time I'm feeling this or thinking this, go exercise, burn off some of that excess energy there to help yourself. And then just try to take some of those negative thoughts, put it into practice, and change them into a more positive thinking. Instead of, oh my gosh, I just failed at that and I so embarrassed myself. You know what? I'm proud of myself for trying. These are things that I tell my children that we need to make sure we're telling ourselves. Instead of, oh, I'm overweight, I'm out of shape, I might as well not try. No, I'm capable, I'm strong, and I want to be healthier, and I'm going to be healthier. In some of our classes, we make people do what's called an action plan, something a plan they're going to work on. And they'll always start, well, I'm going to try to do that. No, we're not going to try. We forbid the word try in some of our classes. I can, I will, I'm going to. Those positive and said, well, I'm going to try or I'm going to do my best. No, I'm going to do it there. And then as we're trying to practice more positive thinking, what puts you in a better mood? Maybe I need to listen to some music. I need to write my gratitude journal. Maybe I just need to breathe and meditate and whatever else because somebody frustrated me. I don't need to label myself. I'm not stupid. I'm not lazy. I'm not, whatever else. I don't have to fit in this little box because, well, everyone else here at work is this way. Great. That's not me. It's okay to have different personalities. We need some people to be the drivers in the office. We need some people to be the extroverts and the introverts and the analytical people and the, whatever else people. You need to check yourself. What words are you saying? Do things that make you feel positive, things that you enjoy. Even if it's like, oh, I got to exercise and I don't want to, find an exercise class you enjoy. I go do cardio drumming at the Person County Senior Center. I love it. It's only one day a week, but I enjoy it. It gives me good music. It makes me feel better about myself. And it's a good group of ladies to do it. So find Parks and Rec, the senior center, whatever county you're in, and do some activities there. And again, go easy on yourself. Remember, we're all human. We all make mistakes there. Pay attention to what you're eating. Try to make little changes along the way. If you're feeling negative emotions, feel them. Don't keep those emotions bottled up. Enjoy your life. Don't overlook the simple pleasures. We are always walking around with our face in our phone and we're missing the beautiful bird sounds and the beautiful views. I love when I see a deer or a sunset or something like that. My kids are like, what? Where was the deer? Where was the bunny rabbit? You missed it because your head was in your phone. So experience life. Let go of the past. We've experienced a lot of negative things throughout our lives, but we've experienced a lot of good too. So let go of that. Laugh as much as you can and give and receive. Give back. Put a smile on someone else's face. It will put a smile on yours as well. There are a variety of videos, crafts, and different things that you can do to make yourself feel better. If you want more information, the Extension office can send it to you as well. You can find us on our website. You can find us at Person Granville FCS on Facebook and Instagram. We do some virtual workshops. And on our Extension Eventbrite page, you can also find us there, and you can just call us at the Extension office for any information about our programs, about mental health, about our diabetes workshops, or about our diabetes prevention program, or to register for one of our informational sessions coming up. Thank you for joining us this week at for our Gardener's Corner program. We hope that you learned a little bit of something, you feel a little bit more positive today, and you're going to take some of this information and please share it with someone else. If you know someone else who might be pre-diabetic, please tell them about our programs. If you need more information or want to share any of this positive thinking, receive any of the handouts and share that information, contact us as well. Thanks for tuning in this week, and we're going to listen to another word from one of our sponsors. Take care, you guys.
Jason Aycock, NCAL 6679, announces a farm equipment auction to be held for T&S Denning Farms, located 638 Denning Road in Benson, North Carolina, on Saturday, April 19th at 10 a.m. This auction will be held rain or shine. No bias premium will be charged. Bid in person or bidding available through proxy bid. For terms, more information, and to see photos of items up for auction, log on to AycockAuctioneering.com or call Jason at 919-495-0285. Up for auction on Saturday the 19th at 10 a.m. in Benson. Tractors, combine, construction equipment, sprayers, trucks, trailers, and lots more related equipment. Log on to AycockAuctioneering.com or call Jason at 919-495-0285. This auction will be held Saturday, April 19th at 10 a.m. Sale site address 638 Denning Road in Benson. Call Jason at 919-495-0285 or visit the website AycockAuctioneering.com. That's in Benson, Saturday, April 19th.